As a disclaimer, some of our episodes discuss topics that may not be fit for a younger audience. Some episodes also contain some swearing. This show was produced by the Geek Happy Network, constantly curious about the things we love. If you enjoy listening to Represented, remember to subscribe to the show on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. Remember to leave a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Hi, I'm Jamie Mack. Welcome to the Represented Podcast.
My name is Mick Narciso, and you are listening to the Represented Podcast.
What's up? My name is Robert Mudhama, aka Lucid.
Hi everyone, my name is Noni Rupia and you're listening to Represented Podcast.
A journey through the lives of everyday people
such as
yourself.
Check me out on episode 2 of season 1.
Listen to me on episode 9, season 1.
Episode 7 of season 1.
I think I couldn't be more happier and more like myself now. I feel
It opened my eyes to why I think and feel the way I do.
And they inadvertently teach me how to be more creative.
And I'm excited to share that story.
My guest today is DoubleM, goes by DoubleM. Yeah. So DoubleM happens to be a radio presenter on USIU radio.
Yes.
That's 99.9,
Yeah,
right?
99.9 is the frequency. Yeah.
And USIU, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's United States International University.
Yes.
And when my brother was promoting his music, he happened to have an interview with you guys at the radio station.
Sure,
I got a
and we
chance.
appreciated that very much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really cool. And just to get a behind the scenes look at a student run operation like that was really enlightening for me.
We always have fun and we are trying to make it the best we can because we don't have any professional like radio or TV presenter there. Everything is run by students, right from the executive producer, the head of radio, I'm the deputy head of radio and head of production, and even the radio presenters. So none of us is, employed in any mainstream outlet. So all of us are just doing our thing where we want. So when we have such interviews and they are successful, we feel like we've really achieved something.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And so what got you into radio in the first place?
My bit of history is so strange as per se. I don't know why I got it strange, but
Let's
it's
get
always
into
so
it.
strange.
Yeah.
So I did my undergrad in, let me say, it's both journalism and public relations. So I really didn't like this bit of PR, of course, but I love journalism. So I tried to figure out why I can work after finishing my undergrad, but it seemed not to be successful. So I got into a bank and I started working as a banker. Actually, I've been working in a bank for almost 3 years.
Okay.
3 years. 3 also, actually, this would have been the 4th year before I resigned anyway.
Talk to me about that transition.
That transition
and
now.
because I've made a similar transition, which got me into podcasting. So I'd love to hear what that process into that transition was like.
As we all know, in Nairobi, which is our city, the only thing you need to know is, pay your bills and earn something that makes you feel you can, make a lifestyle that you deserve or that you wish to have. So when I got into the bank, I thought, yes, this is where there's money. And literally there is money anyway. But that money isn't yours. You're just like a watchman, I will call it, because you can count millions and you can see millions moving out and moving in. But that money isn't yours. So my dream within the bank was like, I would love not to do what I was doing then, but at least move to a communication department. So that is the only thing that made me, feel like I can stay there for quite a while. And as much as I was waiting for that promotion, it never came. So in my third year, I remember going for interviews in the communication department. Actually, I used to volunteer in shooting events for them, editing, actually doing voiceovers. I actually was not even doing what my role was in the job description. But most of the time, I'll just volunteer and go and shoot, go and do a lot of things, even, anything that marketing officers or anybody will do. Another thing I was doing there was also manage social media platforms, go to Twitter, any bank official page. I used to actually to run them, but that wasn't my JD. I was just doing it for fun. And I felt, the more I engage, the more I, acclimatize with what they do, maybe that's the only way they can give me a promotion. But it never seemed to come through.
Yeah, because what bank cares about social media that much, right?
Yeah.
'Cause they're making so much money already. It seems like
It's
they wouldn't.
nothing to
Yeah.
them somehow. So my third year, I actually got into a lot of interviews, but I really didn't want to do anything outside communication. So I go for many interviews in whichever all the departments were, in risk, in of course in business banking, in what have you. But I didn't have that passion to do anything in those departments. So during my third year, I thought, for once, either I want to continue staying in the bank, what we call comfort zone somehow. So sometimes you are in a place, as much as you're earning money, but you don't have that passion. So what will really make you do something, very well, you wake up in the morning with a smile and you feel this is what I want to do, is the passion. So this is what I lacked in the bank. I didn't have the passion to do whatever I was doing. So every morning I'll wake up. Actually, guys will find me on TV in the kitchen. It's still a break. Like, no, it's not a break, but I've been seeing my friends presenting in the morning, and then I call them, hey guys, your link was so awesome, and everything is like, man, you leave the bank then if you don't like it. So I made a decision, of which my decision was was a shock to my parents and everybody else who knew this guy is going far, in the bank. And I even knew, actually, I'd even been told in the bank that there's some positions being created for you guys and you're going to be earning good money. I was like, yeah, let's wait for that. But then my decision was so abrupt and I said, enough is enough. Let me go for what I love most. And that's how I quit the bank.
Interesting. That's really cool, because the reason I was interested in that was, for me, I was working 2 years in tech. And I started in my third year in university. And so I was working part-time, and then they hired me full-time once I graduated. Then I worked for 2 years now from there. And I remember I got to that same point where it's like, and funny enough, I also did social media during my time there too, which kind of opened up my mind to other things outside my actual job, which wasn't social media like you said as well. And then one of my former coworkers, who happens to be the guy I'm doing this podcast with, is he got hired soon after, and we started having these discussions. And I just got to that same place where it's like, I feel like
This is not my place.
This is not my place, and I need to find somewhere else. So I can totally relate to that transition, because we started podcasting together, and then kind of moved on to, But that's really cool.
Yeah, and what motivated me is, one, I had already finished my undergrad in journalism. Then I had joined my master's at USIU in digital communication. So when I was relaxed in school, I was trying to figure out what I can really do, because, I wouldn't want to sit at home as well and say, I'm going to get to the mainstream where I want to be when I'm sitting and I'm not doing anything. So there was radio. So I joined radio, and I started doing my shows. I was actually doing a show in the afternoon. I call it the Hype Talk Show, but it's a sports zone, whereby we do now fully sports, because, over the weekend, most of the guys would love to hear updates on English Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, KPL, and what have you. So that was my main show that I was doing. In any case, we didn't have any sports show. So when I did a bit of a survey within the environs of, USIU, guys were still asking, hey, you guys have a radio, but we've never had anybody do sports because that's what we love. Yes, we have Caribbean Date, which is a reggae show. We have Safari Africa, which is an African kind of, show as well. And others for real, get real, with women, all those things that ladies and other people love. So they are there, but there's no sports. So I started a sports show, which I was actually doing on Saturdays. Time after time, I noticed also in the morning there's a show that we call Morning Madness, and it seems that the presenters also were getting a little bit, either tired because, waking up in the morning, bruh.
And especially if you're still studying.
You're still studying.
Yeah.
And, some people, as much as it's passion, they're motivated by cash, bro. Nobody's paying you at
There's
school.
no pay, yeah.
Even every artist to get, if you cannot get them to the studio, you cannot buy them anything. And there's some demanding artists who would want you to pay, you want you to buy for them breakfast, who want ABCD. So some other students feel like, guys, I only have pocket money, I cannot afford you guys. So, and others were going for attachment. So I felt it was a gap in the morning because morning shows are quite a thing because they set the agenda for most of the listeners in Kenya. So I decided to start doing that show. So those are the two shows I'm doing at USIU. So I do Morning Madness from 8 to 10 a.m. in the morning. And then on Saturdays now I do the Hype Talk show for sports, technology, and bringing the artist. I call it KYA, Know Your Artist. So I combine sports, then Know Your Artist. Then now, because I also doing my master's in digital communication, I feel like I should be letting people know what is going around, the new media and so forth.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And what keeps you motivated to... Now it seems like you've kind of caught a wave with, because radio was something you were toying with initially, and now it seems like you've gotten the ball rolling. So what keeps you going and creating new ideas or staying motivated?
One, while I was looking for internship when I was doing my undergrad in journalism, I found a lot of friends who had already been absorbed in the mainstream, doing what I'm actually doing without any pay. And you would feel the feature stories in KTN, in Citizen, and NTV that was so awesome. But when we come and sit somewhere, when we're having coffee and ask the guys, I say, what's the pay?
Yeah.
They tell you, dude,
Which pay?
what are you talking about? Which pay? And I'm like, all those stories that you're doing, you've been going to Nakuru, you've been going to very many places. Actually, another friend of mine who works in KTN actually had even gone to Somali. To do feature stories, and he wasn't paid anything then. So the only time he came to reveal to me that they had started giving him like a token was around 10,000 shillings, around $10, I think.
That's 100. Yeah, for what? Like per month?
Yeah, per month.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
It's $100 or $10. $100, I
It's
think.
100. Yeah.
$100. So $100 a whole month. The guy has traveled to Somalia. He has already been traveling in the entire country. So one, this always freaks me out.
Yeah.
But when I see the journey through that moment we spoke about what they were earning and where they are right now, that keeps me going. I feel like if these kids made it, then when I was really earning money in the bank and I wouldn't follow the path they followed, I somehow regret why I took that path. Thinking, by the way, I would have gotten some good cash, develop myself, buy these fancy things. We think of a car fast, and have some good lifestyle within Nairobi. I don't know why my mind took me into that direction. However, it's not a full regret because it's also built me in terms of creating connections and so forth. Because this is one place where we had a good clientele in terms of every bank has their own clientele. So you could speak of a standard bank. Its own clientele it's not the normal mwananchi. So the clientele
Was that the bank you were working in?
Yeah, that's where I was working. So most of the customers, trust me, most of them are between 150,000 and above. So you can see what kind of connection you can have with these people. This is actually where I started getting a crew from Citizen. As much as, yes, most of them were my friends that we started with, because a number of them who are anchors and producers, we started together. But now, the likes of William Tuva for Citizen, DJ Flash, I actually met them when I was trying to do something for them in the bank. And then when we interacted, we just became friends like that. And because I had that passion for radio, I was like, guys, by the way, we can be having coffee, we talk like this and ABCD.
Also, shout out to Willie Tuva and DJ Flash, who are instrumental in my whole brother's experience with promoting his music and also just seeing you guys working together and stuff. It seems like there's like a chemistry amongst you guys.
Those guys are so awesome. They have done a lot in terms of promoting not just the renowned artist, but even the upcoming artist. I remember one time when we had, not we, but when Citizen TV had a conversation, and it was an interview between why Kenyan media houses do not promote Kenyan content. I remember him coming very open and telling them, go and check my shows. His show is Mseto East Africa, which comes on television as well as on radio. Just go and check on his content, actually. What DJ Flash and Tuva does is purely Kenyan. Well and good, they do East African, but mostly, even the artists they bring to the studio, even me, I have had an opportunity to interview some of them. Trust me, they're really upcoming. They're like that, that small
and
chick.
I could tell, even just being at 6-4 Lounge and at the studio when you guys were interviewing my brother, it seemed like these are people who are literally just starting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even right now, what they are doing is when they actually do an interview with some artist and they feel they would still get another platform, they always call me and tell me, hey, please push that content actually on your area as well. So we come and interview them. So those guys are really doing a commendable job, man.
Yeah.
They have grown more artists. Now even the renowned one, they actually started from there. So you can see how, the connection they have, the passion they have for people who have done nothing, literally just one video, one audio, give them a platform to who they are, That's really big shout out to those guys, so lovely.
For sure, shout out to them. And Willie Tuva is a legend in his own right, for sure.
Man.
Yeah. And so what do you think about, so it's interesting you brought up the aspect of Kenyan content, and what do you think about the landscape of Kenyan content today? Because I've also heard ramblings about our media houses not really putting too much effort into promoting our own content. Where do you think that journey is right now as a content creator yourself?
So I personally love every kind of music, every genre. Call it reggae, afropop, whatever it is, even if it's gospel, gengaton. I mean, there's another one. One artist came to the studio and told me he wants to create it. His name is Arif Shailailai. I don't know, some kind of vibe, which I'm yet actually to tell, because he came and created some words in the studio, because they said gengaton now. We are not gengaton, but of course some of the guys, actually they're from Boondocks Gang, but then they had done a collab with this kind of artist, and he was coming with his own kind of genre. Yes. So it's time for us to become innovative, one. And us, as radio presenters or journalists, we don't have a problem with anybody coming up with anything you feel, suits your lifestyle, your generation, your lugha ya mtaa. We have no problem with that. But my main concern will be, what content do you have for that genre that you're coming up with? I know we have come so strongly to, critique. I'll call it critique because, well, there's a positive and there's a negative thing in gengeton, which is actually the latest genre that, Wasewa Mtaa came up with, guys from the ethics, the Boondocks, and the sailors, and all those guys. Of course, one, we understand that it's so difficult for us, the youth, to really get into employment. If I resigned from a bank, you can tell I wasn't satisfied. I wanted to do what I love and what I don't have restrictions on doing, right? So these guys have not even gotten to where I was, you see?
Yeah.
And they would like to have a living, they would like to make, whatever they want to achieve in life, and they come up with something that has really caught an eye for all the Kenyans. You can even hear a song like Wamlambe for sailors. I mean, not only on YouTube that is really hyped that much, but even in corporate institutions. Even an MC will come and, when they see guys are so bored, they say like, Wamlambes. You guys are like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
But that's their own kind of, I don't want to call it genre, but I don't know what kind of word I should give it because it's not really a genre. Is it a genre?
Like Gengeton as a whole, I guess it sounds like that's what
It's like
people are treating it as such. From what I can tell, it seems as though, because there's also that sound, and there's like a. I've noticed the videos tend to have a similarity. There's always like a group.
So that's why I wanted to head to.
Yeah. The originality.
So this is what I wanted to talk about. We have my main concern is also content. Like that's what I was saying. My main concern is content. So this is what I'll give you first that I got from the renowned artists that I've interviewed in the studio. Of course, I won't mention the names, but of course, many of them, when they come, always ask, but what do you think about Gengeton? What do you think about Genge that was there? What do you think about, gospel artists leaving gospel music, coming to secular? And what do you think about even secular, artists also doing gospel music? So one reaction that some of them were giving me during the interview is one, let everybody do what they feel is good for them and let them make money because, that is what we all want to do.
Liberty, yeah.
Isn't it? But then their main concern and worry is for how long are they going to do what they are doing? Because it's like it kind of vanishes so fast after the hype, because bear with me, witness. Wamlambezi right now by day is
nowhere to be seen.
Yes.
It's gone. It's over.
It's gone.
Yeah.
The riang that Bondox Gang came with nowadays, like riang nigani, actually, we have even stopped calling riang as a song, riang as a word of telling form nigani and what, as in story gani, as a riang. So it's gone to something different. So that means the song has vanished.
But they've given us something. We've taken it without them attached to it.
You see now.
Like, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, we have, this is now ours. Your song will remain there. So the worry for most of the artists I've been interviewing is for how long is it going to stay? Number two, the videos. I don't know who told them that naked ladies and, God forbid, the bootylicious and whatever it is what that sells. Well, we know sex sells. That is for a fact. And even if you check on the magazine, Parents and what have you, I don't know, Dream, those magazines we used to have, they would go and do a good Photoshop, edit the photos very well, do good makeup, and then somebody can, buy that magazine. I don't know whether that's where they're borrowing such concepts from.
Yeah, I think so. I feel as though they see a formula that worked, and then there's just replication without any added originality.
So that is what we are worried about. The thing is, for them, if you check on all the videos, trust you me, you must have a lady who is half naked,
bent over,
and that is what they are shaking, and that's what they feel like. This is real music. Now, before I go far, let me give you a real content flop that I had when we were doing another launch at 64. I bet 2 weeks ago. So I'll call them brilliant young men because they were very confident to launch their music, and they come to the podium and then they're like, yes, DJ Flash, play the song. You know what the title of the song was? I don't know. You might end up censoring it, but the title was Kundumoto.
Kundumoto, okay.
Yes.
We're not censoring, so there's no problem. Explain it as openly as you can.
All right, so I'll try because I don't know what it meant because they also didn't tell us what it meant. But literally, if you know what Kundumoto is in Swahili, you could literally tell. How would you make that a title of a song that people will play on mainstream, even anywhere on YouTube, and say, this is the title of my song? So my one issue was, why would you call this song Kundumoto? The whole chorus is Kundumoto. That is exactly what they were singing in the whole chorus. So then we asked them a question. Where do you think your music will be played? You know the response? Kila mahali mziki utachezwa.
Of course.
Kila mahali mziki utachezwa. YouTube nakwambia hii itabombea kabisa. And that's what they said. So like, oh really? So as a matter of not really, killing the morale, we're like, guys, continue what you do if you feel that's what you can do. But as we think, you can look for words you can substitute for anything that you think is not very, clean and ethical to people. Next, other than the title, content was a problem as well. And the video was just the same that we've spoken about. Yes.
I wonder.
Chicks there and... to be frank, I have been in one of these guys' groups. I don't know how they manage to pull me into their groups, but I always see how they do their conversation in terms of pulling the ladies and everybody. They actually do a message. Hey guys, next week we'll be meeting at TRM. Anybody willing to come for a shoot? Guys, don't blame me that I didn't tell you. Do you know how many people confirm they are going to attend? And the ladies, I always see there. They're like 100, and they actually have to shortlist and say, hey, can you send us your photos? We see it,
Because you see when I see the music videos, I see gangs of people. Because there's that trend of just like a mass of people, a mass of women dancing. So it's like, man.
And I don't think there's anybody who pays them.
Yeah, there's
God
that too.
forbid. And I wouldn't know what the ladies have in their mind, whether they will become celebrities
stars,
or even they will say this, let's go and do the shooting, but we will try and dress proper. I mean, what will make you look bad if you just wear like a dinner dress and your heels and do some makeup and go and catwalk on alongside the swimming pool and do something, rather than you have to bend and you have to shake it. Most of these artists somehow do not have somebody to give them directions on what they ought to do. I love the vibe that they are trying to do collabos with the renowned artists, because somehow this time they can be able to get some guidance. When they bring somebody in, at least now I will tell them, hey guys, let's scrap this part, let's do this. They have the lyrics and everything. They have the ideas. So when they combine those ideas, I believe that's the only thing that can make them relevant in the future. Yeah. When you get old and your children are asking you, Dad, you are hit those times, Can you show us what you used to do?
Yeah.
I'm waiting to ask them those questions. I want them to answer me. Of course, I got a privilege to interact with Boondocks Gang, and the guys I've seen them grow. Actually, I bet either they're first, I don't know, but when we had the interview, I bet that was the first interview on radio I did with them. Those were not the names actually they call themselves.
Okay, what were they called?
Of course, Boondocks Gang was they're known as, one of them's name is Farnes, but right now I think he calls himself Odiwa Moranga.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And the other one is his name was Maddox, but right now he calls himself Edu Maddox. I think the only one who retained his name is X-Ray.
Okay.
Yeah, so when they came to the studio, we had a very awesome conversation and how they would like to push the music. They're also teaching me these new words of Gengeton. I also didn't have an idea on what Gengeton fully was, but I really enjoyed because they were teaching me things and they were like, yeah, guys, we need to come to USIU Radio and be doing this thing once more again. So I was like, you're welcome. But when we went and had coffee now, at least for like 30 minutes, I would feel they have the passion for music, but somehow in their mind is like, they need somebody who can, nurture them and tell them, guys, you're getting into the industry. You are brilliant. You are so smart, guys, but there's this that you cannot do and this that you can do as well. Well, I'm so happy that they're almost celebrating 1 year, of which I saw a party that they had advertised they ought to do. So I don't know, maybe they've already done it. So it's only 1 year and they are hit. I mean, everybody knows them. You can even go and check on the social media platforms. They came to my place. I think they were around 2,000, 3,000. So right now, one of them has 50-something thousand on even Instagram. The other one 47, the other one 15. So
there's growth.
They need some molding. I don't know who can go and talk to them. Need to see and figure out on how better you can do your music, because these guys need to stay for long. And if they continue doing this. And another thing is, I think they're also trying to compete with whoever is in the list by releasing any other song. I would tell you, when they came, they had only done, they only done 2 videos. Actually, one video that we shot in the cafeteria at school really didn't pick up until they had to go and remix with somebody else and put those crazy
effects and stuff.
Whatever, yeah, and then bring ladies as well as to do their thing, That is when it had to pick. But you see, at first we had done it a normal thing. It was at school cafeteria. They picked a bit of a cutaway, and then they were to go and do other things and make a good song. But when I saw it, it was a bit clean, and there was a way you can connect and create a better transition of the storyline of that music. But now, after all, I think they always feel like, their competitors will release more songs than them. So they keep on doing anything they feel like, it's a story about hashtag Wajinga Nyinyi. Let's release a story about Wajinga Nyinyi. Is it a story about Nganga sijui doing what? Let's,
Trendy. We have a lot of trendy music in Nairobi. Exactly. Or in Kenya. It's insane. Who are some of the, like for you personally, were there people in your life who mentored you or who are helping you right now in like, because you have your own journey, and so who are some of those people who are helping you make sense of it as you're going along? If you'd like to get in touch with the Represented Podcast, feel free to hit up at Represented Podcast on Instagram or email us at representedpodcast@gmail.com. This show is hosted and created by myself, Kanyeki Kamawe. Editing by Lucid and myself. Video directed by James Kamawe. Video editing by myself, Kanyeki Kamawe. Intro music by Lucid and Mari Narciso.